back, you guys, to Every Child Can Learn, the network series that enlightens, encourages, and empowers our parents, teachers, and schools to reimagine equity in education and make learning simple and accessible for children of all abilities. Now, you may be thinking, how are schools going to imagine education after 100 years, right? But
Right.
the answer is progressive education. So, which is a peer education approach based on the principle that education must prepare our students for participation in a people centered global society rather than passive learners. John Dewey, philosopher, psychologist, and educational reformer, stated education is not preparation for life, education is life itself, which is why we advocate life education. So today's progressive education strategy is self-directed learning. At the end of
Beautiful.
today's class, we will be enlightened on the value of self-directed learning, also known as student-directed learning. It is an educational theory or method of content delivery in which the student takes control of their own education. Now, through the use of self-directed learning, students set their own goals and deadlines while following a broad assignment outcome. Equity is in education, right?
Right.
So let's get started. For students, teachers, and visitors that are here for the first time, welcome, you guys. My name is Sparkle Lindsay. I'm an author, an international recovery coach, professional facilitator, and the owner of Sparkle LLC, the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I'm honored to host today's show with Angela Lee, author of the Bella Santini Chronicles, producer of Children Lives Matter, and CFDO at Thriving Women Network. Welcome, Angela. How we doing?
Oh, so great, Sparkle. How are you today?
Girl, I'm thriving. We on Thriving Women
Awesome.
Network. I'm
Oh,
feeling
we're all thriving.
good. So, what was the topic of Children's Lives Matter yesterday?
Oh my gosh, it was such a good topic. We covered stress,
Yes.
and
Oof,
stress happens for everyone.
girl.
People at work, kids in school, everywhere. There's
Man.
stress. So that particular show looked at what are the causes of stress
Right.
and how do we not only help ourselves out of stress, but how to avoid that fight or flight response altogether in the beginning.
That
Really good information.
that is beautiful. I truly believe that a lot of my stress is what really pushed my autoimmunes
Mhm.
into full force. The stress,
Yeah.
my body couldn't fight it. And when I found that out, I was like, girl, you gotta do something to relieve this stress. You really got to stop stressing out about things that probably haven't even happened, right?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like worry and anxiety are two things, and stress. They're all focused on not the present moment, but what might happen in the future or what happened in the past.
Mhm.
So really being mindful and saying, "Wait, is it happening now?"
Exactly. Or is this something I'm worried about that we might not ever get to, right?
Exactly. Why borrow trouble? Right?
There it is. Well, that sounds like a great episode. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I'm sure you guys have some pointers. We all
Oh,
get.
there's some amazing information.
Yeah. So now, Angela, speaking of that, it's May. We're at the end of May. It's mental health awareness. How are we advocating today?
Well, Thriving Women Network is so wonderful because our whole mission is to empower and enlighten and encourage our viewers. And so, across all of our programs, we have been talking about mental health awareness.
Right.
This mission is to address the challenges that face millions of people around the world that are living with mental health conditions.
Mhm.
Throughout the month, organizations will actively participate in this national movement of Mental Health Awareness Month,
Mhm.
and they are dedicated to eradicating the stigma of having a mental health issue.
Right.
Also, extending support and fostering public education and advocating for policies that prioritize the well being of families and individuals affected by mental health illness.
Mm-hmm.
Every Child Can Learn series is doing our part by sharing stories of students, teachers, and schools and organizations that are encouraging us.
Yes.
Today, we are honoring Allison Malman, founder and executive director of Active Minds, the nation's leading nonprofit organization promoting mental health awareness and education for young adults. She formed Active Minds in 2003 at the age of 21, following the shocking suicide of her only brother.
Mm.
Yeah. So let's watch this video from YouTube where she shares her core mission for Active Minds.
I decided to focus Active Minds on college-age people because the vast majority of mental health issues first present at the college and high school age. And college students are on their own often for the first time, and so it's a time of significant transition. And there's also it's a time of opportunity. And if we can help college students understand the mental health difficulties they may be experiencing and understand what they may be going through and help them get into support, treatment, whatever that looks like for them early, then we have that much more chance of both prevention, early intervention, and recovery. A huge part of our mission is to give students and young people hope. There's too few stories out there of successful people who have lived with mental health difficulties, and yet we know that they exist and we know they're out there. College students need hope. They're at an age where they're creating their own identity, and if they feel a challenge in their mental health, they feel depression, or experience another mental health disorder, they can often lose hope and they can often lose a sense of self. And so a lot of what we aim to do is to provide a level of hope for all young people who may be experiencing mental health difficulties. It's certainly my hope that more young people will recognize that having a mental health disorder is not a life sentence, and that they can live the life they've always wanted to live and recover to whatever that looks like for them, but continue to be successful, thriving young adults and adults, even if they're experiencing a mental health disorder.
Mm.
Yeah, we covered in Children's Lives Matter mental health issues, and we even talked about how you can still be an effective parent when you have mental health issues, as long as you're so actively looking for the support that you need to provide that continuum of care that your children need.
Absolutely. And we have to think about, just like sustaining recovery in addiction or sustaining anything, the maintenance of who we are and what we deserve to be is in every element we're working on.
Beautiful, Sparkle.
So when we think about that, what's the difference? Whatever we're working on individually, maintenance it, work with it, get the supports that can help you so that you can still live a healthy life, right?
That's the destigmatization of this whole thing. It's like we don't think about going to a doctor as something that we have to hide from people.
Right.
But people think that going to a mental health professional needs to be hidden. We all have minds.
Yep.
All of our brains are wired differently, and sometimes the brain wiring goes a little haywire. Yep. We all need help sometimes.
There it is. Be where your feet are and realign yourself, right? Yeah. That's all it is.
That's it.
So let's take a minute. I want you to think about this. At the age of 21, Allison started a charity, and today it is a national charity with a score of 99%, earning it a 4-star rating.
Beautiful.
Their professional speakers provide engaging, encouraging, and safe mental health education that's tailored for students, young adults, educators, professional groups, and other audiences. This next video we're going to share is the impact that this organization is having on students and teachers. Here we go.
Justin Mercer is student teaching in a high school history classroom this fall.
What is the Harlem Renaissance?
Hard to imagine now that he almost didn't make it to this point.
Everyone has a sad day, but depression specifically is much more than that. it crushes you. It felt like the weight of the world was on me.
One day at the end of his freshman year, he came close to taking his life.
That day, what do you think stopped you?
I knew that the person to find me would have been my little sister, and I couldn't have done that to her. I didn't ever want to die. I wanted it to stop.
The next morning, he finally opened up to his parents, and they helped him find counseling. Now, Justin is trying to help other students before they get to that crisis point. At Auburn University, he's deeply involved in a campus club called Active Minds.
The numbers show that stress, anxiety, depression, all those things that we can measure are up in young people. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, definitely.
Sophomore Deasia Delma shared openly with the group that she lives with bipolar disorder.
It's awesome to see organizations like this reaching out, because I find that the thing I was searching for was community and consistency.
Something common amongst all of us here is that we're here to have the conversation.
It's not peer-to-peer counseling, but a club raising awareness and creating a safe space for people to talk about mental health issues. There are Active Minds chapters on 450 campuses nationwide, and new research from the RAND Corporation finds they make a difference.
The sheer presence of Active Minds at a school increases awareness, decreases stigma, and changes behaviors.
Justin will get his master's in December. He wrote a book to share his experience.
My thing was, if I help one person, I'm good. That I've done my part.
Active Minds at Auburn lobbied to expand campus counseling. Like a lot of schools now, for 29,000 students there are just 14 full-time counselors and psychologists. Lester?
All right, Kate Snow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's important to talk about suicide and bring, people think that if I say suicide, I'm going to implant that idea in my child.
Right.
But actually, if you talk, hey, it seems like you might be having suicidal ideation. Let's talk about it.
Right.
It makes it okay for the child to bring their feelings forward.
Right. I think, Angel, the one thing that I know my father helped us with, even after I really got into my addiction, my dad, he still let us know what we were in for if we chose that path. But once I fell and it was difficult for me and I spiraled, my dad never let me go. We had conversations after, once I was able to come to and get sober, about the things that I did right or wrong, or that it just was what it was. But I was able to bounce back so much better by understanding he wasn't upset at me. He may have been scared, but he was willing to listen, so
he was there for you regardless of your behavior, which is unconditional love.
Oh yeah.
So Sparkle, the impact that Active Minds is having on college campuses allows them to have those uncomfortable conversations like what we just talked about. But they have it with peers, and they may not have the same perspective, but they all do have the same passion. In this next video, we will see how the national chapters of Active Minds encourage collaboration with other schools to have conversations on difficult topics. So let's watch.
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict continues raging on, and the impact it's had on members of the community at Bradley and the Peoria area have been devastating. BUTV News' Terry Silva went to New Miller Hall to find out more.
This past Friday, Active Minds, a mental health organization on campus in Peoria for Palestine, came together for an event they called Mindful Solidarity. This event allowed the community to discuss the effects that the crisis in Palestine has recently had on their well-being.
We wanted to partner up with Peoria for Palestine, who is throughout the community, but they've come to Bradley for events before. So we wanted to partner with them to get the perspective of the mental health of all the people that are going through this, because this isn't just something that's affecting Palestinians. This is affecting humanity. This is affecting everyone.
Active Minds in Peoria for Palestine encouraged the community to partake in the conversation, giving them a proper outlet to speak up and share what had been weighing on their minds.
As people said tonight,
It really brought them so much joy to not only have a moment for advocacy, but also a moment for healing and to talk about different things they've been struggling with throughout this journey from October 7th to now, and then prior to October 7th, and what that looked like for them, many of them being Palestinians.
To those without a direct link to the conflict, it may be difficult to fully grasp or to feel provoked, but look no further than Bradley student and Active Minds community chair Jenna Smiley.
I am Palestinian, so I am directly affected by this. So like seeing like your own people dying can be a lot to take in, and it's a tough thing to go through.
Some community members, such as Estrella Diaz for Peoria for Palestine, know exactly what Jenna means. Though Diaz is not Palestinian, she is a child of immigrants, and she and others in her position share empathy for those in Palestine who are losing their homes.
I know what it feels like to lose your whole culture and to want to get back, but you feel too old to get back and you just feel lost. And I don't want that to happen to the Palestinians, because it's horrible to lose that connection with your culture, to lose your land. It's just, I don't want them to lose it. If we can stop it, we should.
And that is what Mindful Solidarity is truly about. Thanks to the two organizations and the many friendly faces from the community allowing themselves to be vulnerable, people left the event feeling a bit differently than they had arrived, sharing how they felt in one word.
Loved. Very loved.
Grateful.
Comforted.
If you're interested in the fight for Palestine, go to PeoriaForPalestine.org to get more involved. And for students interested in mental health, go to ActiveMinds.org. For BUTV News, I'm Terry Silva, signing off.
Ah, wow. So, Sparkle, how did it make you feel looking at students having a chat on a difficult conversation? And unlike many adults that we've seen on TV, without resulting in screaming and not listening.
Well, one thing we have to know about peers, and obviously I'm a peer coach, right? Recovery coach. One of the things we understand is that all of us have like things that we're vulnerable about and communicate with one another on, which means we find our passions, we take our pain and we turn it into purpose. And so what happens is it comes into the gel factor versus gelling versus screaming and yelling. We're actually listening. And so when you see this is beautiful, because this is what our day and age is about now. It's about finding somebody who can relate to you and then walking alongside each other while you figure it out. No judgment, just listening. And so I think it's beautiful, you know?
It is beautiful. It's about listening with compassion and empathy and saying, you know, hey, that situation can be really hard for you or your people to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And oftentimes it speaks to us, maybe in a different language. And sometimes those people that were supposed to be in that room together to hear that wasn't by coincidence.
No.
They all can understand one another, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that's important.
That is crazy important. I didn't miss it. So now after the break, we're going to discuss education strategy, self-directed learning. During our break, we will be enlightened on the Global Teachers Prize, which consists of nominees from around the world. Now, the prize is $1 million. Yeah, we want to get up in on that. Now, hopefully, the person who wins sees this show.
That would be amazing, huh?
Now, you guys remember Every Child Can Learn is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. And if you want to produce a franchise show, TWN provides the media network training, mentoring, and coaching to produce your franchise show. So for more information, visit our website. We'll be back.
Tools that they need to be masters of their own destiny.
The Global Teacher Prize goes to Nancy Atwell.
Maggie McDonald.
Andrea Zafiraku.
Peter Tabachi.
Ranjit Desale from India.
The winner of the Global Teacher Prize 2021 is Keshiya Thorpe from the United States of America.
This is for every teacher across the globe who shows up every day in the classroom to teach their students and transform their lives. Every child needs a champion, an adult who will never ever give up on them. Teachers will always matter. Teachers matter.
We should get her on our show.
We're on there. She in the USA. We need to give her a call.
We do. Absolutely.
Back, you guys, to Every Child Can Learn TV. If you're just tuning into our classroom, we're discussing the progressive education approach to self-directed learning. Learning by doing. We realize that teachers play a large part in the day-to-day development of our children's minds. That is why they deserve the recognition that athletes receive. Okay, so when an athlete scores a point, millions of people applaud. But how many fans' lives are changed due to the athlete's score?
Only those that want to be athletes.
Right. It puts a perspective in there, right?
Yeah.
So, Angela, what are your thoughts about reimagining education by allowing students to play a bigger part in what they learn?
I am so in love with that idea. I think it is so brilliant. When you think back to when you were in high school, and for some of us, that's a long way back, but you know, I remember wandering the halls like, why do I have to do this class? Why am I spending my time doing that class? How is this going to help me find a job? How is this going to help me live a life?
Right.
And when you let go of those blocks of, you know, required classes and allow a child to learn self-directed through being able to pick and choose from a selection of classes, they can target it more towards where their interest lies, which gives them more information, more skills, so that they can eventually use that in the real world.
Right. I mean, I think that's a beautiful answer. You couldn't have said it any better.
Oh, thank you.
Really, because, you know, when I found out that in my recovery, I could be self-directed in it, I got to pick my recovery package, and I haven't looked back since.
And look where you are now.
Yeah, it's making it, and it's my stuff, right? So, and it geared me towards my strengths and what I needed to do for me. And so
and so you chose the things that resonate with you.
Exactly.
And when you're able to do that, you can be more invested in learning it.
It's yours, right?
So,
Angela, with the rise in teacher shortage, how can this Global Teachers Award impact recruiting more teachers?
You know, that's such a hard question, because I really, as I was watching the video, I was thinking, you know, even here in Taos, where there's teacher shortages and not enough money for the schools, the idea that one teacher would be able to win $1 million is like, well, why doesn't the Gates Foundation instead like give 100,000 to 10 schools? Or I get it, because they're trying to elevate teachers to the level of professional sports players who, you know, no one blinks an eye when a sport player gets $1 million.
Right.
And it's like, in the world that we live in, it doesn't seem likely that teachers will achieve that elevation. So while I applaud what they're doing, I also think there could be a different approach that maybe benefits more kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about this organization and how they got it right, though. So the Global Teacher Prize is an annual $1 million awarded by the Varkey Foundation to a teacher that has made an outstanding contribution to the profession. Nominations of teachers who meet specific criteria are open to the worldwide public, and teachers can nominate themselves. So let's watch this video of the 2023 winner of the Global Teachers Prize from Pakistan. I love from Pakistan. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Global Teacher Prize Ceremony 2023.
Let the children speak their names as their mothers do. Let the chorus sing it back, or try and try.
Teachers are the backbone of quality and inclusive education.
One of the things that I've learned in this journey is that teachers perform miracles every single day.
My hope for the future is an education system that prioritizes teachers at its very core, where their role is given the significance and respect it deserves.
Thanks to Varkey Foundation, Dubai Cares, from bringing all us to UNESCO to celebrate the teaching profession.
Dino Varkey, patron of the Varkey Foundation, who will present our finalists with their esteemed global prizes.
If the world is really to become one family, it often starts with the teacher.
Then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on.
The winner of the 2023 Global Teacher Prize is Sister Zef from Pakistan.
Teaching is not just a profession. It's a vocation, a calling to inspire, nurture, and empower the next generations. Let's work together to ensure that every child has the chance to learn, dream, and make a positive impact on our world.
I'd like to leave you with the words of Mr. Sunny Varkey himself, the founder of the Global Teacher Prize. Whatever the question, sir, whatever the question, education is the answer. Thank you and good night. Thank you very much.
Nice.
That was beautiful. And it really is nice to see teachers elevated to that level.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sparkle, from an athlete's perspective, would honoring teachers at that level impact the recruiting of teachers?
I do believe that. I kind of believe that it's no different than, what we're covering on AMP Sports, right? The era of the rookie, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, all of them, they are being put out there, right? As name, image, likeness. Why can't we do that for teachers, right? Because if we put them out there and they're influencers, then we show that people do learn. And I think it's no different from an athlete's perspective right now. Whatever you feel like you can influence people in, get out there and talk about it. And I believe that when we give people money and show that like we are listening and we are paying attention to what's going on, it really evolves everyone in that journey to say, hey, I'm a good teacher too, right? Because when I look at this, Angel, I look at the fact that like, although Caitlin Clark, who's one of the Michael Jordan right now, the WNBA, I also look at it uplifted the rest of the WNBA and all the players around her, which means everybody is showcasing what they have. So I think it is beautiful to do something like this for teachers, because we know there's a bunch of great teachers out there. And
there are amazing teachers all over the world.
Absolutely.
And children truly are our greatest asset. They're the next generation's leaders. So let's uplift them through these kind of things. So when we come back from break, we will discuss the impact of self-directed education and the impact that it's actually having on high school students. I'm excited to see that. During our break, we'll be enlightened on free summer programs, say that 2 times, for high school students to direct their education. So Every Child Can Learn is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. If you want to produce a franchise show, TWN provides the media network coaching, training, and mentoring to produce your franchise show.
Yes.
For more information, visit our website. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Claudia Bernier.
My name is Matthew.
Mi nombre es Miguel Marcelino.
My name is Ali Hyder.
Hi, Cos.
Christy
Bashir Makea.
Carlos Catalano.
Tess Von Rudin.
My name is Sarah Adabumi, and I am a NASA intern.
Jesse Moody, and I'm a NASA intern.
Pathways Engineering intern.
I'm a NASA intern.
I'm a NASA intern at NASA Kennedy Space Center.
At Ames Research Center.
NASA Langley in Virginia.
At Goddard Space Flight Center.
OZ Department at Johnson Space Center.
Of the Human Factors Engineering team at the Marshall Space Flight Center.
My name is Tina Shermer, and I'm a Pathways intern at NASA's Glenn Research Center.
I'm Jamarius Reed, and I'm a NASA intern for the Office of STEM Engagement, working in the Aeronautics Directorate at NASA Ames Research Center.
My name is Courtney Goldman, and I'm a NASA OSIM intern at a Kennedy Space Center.
I'm currently working with the Psychophysiology Research Lab.
I study how nitrogen functions in extreme environments.
In bioinformatics for spacecraft production.
The synthesis analysis of multidimensional ozone measurements.
I supported the X-59 Quest Low Boom Flight Demonstrator project.
I decided to apply to a NASA internship because it sounded like the chance of a lifetime to work alongside the innovators and pioneers at NASA.
We get invited to lectures from astronauts, inspiring researchers, and get to hear about smaller missions that I wouldn't have known about.
And being able to work with all of the amazing people here has truly been out of this world.
I like feeling like I'm contributing to something bigger than just me.
All the different projects that they're funding or different projects that they're investing their resources in is really inspiring.
And NASA did an excellent job providing me with meaningful work and making sure that everyone on the team felt included and involved.
From daily or weekly check-ins, my mentors guided and advised me through my projects and any help that I needed.
I feel that NASA is a source of innovation and inspiration for people of all ages and backgrounds.
But you're also around people that are humble, driven, again, passionate, really coming to work, wanting to work, because they care so much about this goal, this mission.
And all NASA wants to see is that you share that passion as well.
I always remain persistent. Everything doesn't happen the moment you want it to happen. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. So if you apply 2 or 3 times and you don't get accepted, keep trying.
We are the Artemis generation, and I am proud and so grateful to take part in getting the next man and the first woman to the moon.
NASA welcomes everyone. It welcomes you. If you're interested in NASA at all, apply online today. I did not think that I could get an internship with NASA, but I applied anyway, and so I think you should too.
I love that. Don't let your self-doubt get in your way. Just apply.
Do it, right?
Yeah. So welcome back to Every Child Can Learn TV. If you're just tuning into our classroom, we're discussing the progressive education approach to self-directed learning. And this means that we are willing to learn independently. This process has 4 steps that we will share with our students and teachers. Number 1, being ready to learn, which is very important. 2, setting learning goals. 3, engaging with the learning process. And the 4th step, which is evaluating learning.
Yes.
So let's talk in depth about these steps. Assess the readiness to learn. Students need skills and attitudes towards learning. That's so important for successful independent study. So if the child does not want to self-direct and get into learning. Maybe they're not a good candidate for this.
Yeah.
But it involves students doing a self-evaluation of their current situation, their study habits, their family situation, and the support network that they have at school and at home. It also involves evaluating past experiences with independent learning. So that's a great way to assess the readiness.
Yes.
And then the next step would be to set learning goals. Communication of learning goals between the student and the instructor is critical. You need to develop a clear understanding of the learning goals that are agreed upon between student and instructor. These are learning contracts. So it might include the goal for the unit of study, the structure and sequence of activities, the timeline for completion of activities, details about resource materials for every single goal, and details about grading procedures. There may be feedback and evaluation as each goal is completed, a meeting plan with the advising instructor, and agreement of unit policies, such as a policy on maybe late assignments. So let's watch this video on students that have used this 4-step process.
Absolutely.
How are we going to have 2 people on a chair?
We're going to have 2 people jumping and acting like they're falling.
We learn most when we're playful and when we maybe aren't being measured. Here, kids are able to come in and explore, but that process doesn't have the same pressure as other aspects of school do and should. And so I think that open-endedness makes it kind of magical. It's really giving kids an opportunity to create something of their own choice. Yeah, I like it. Let me get you some scissors. Eminence exists in a very rural community. We have a higher number of students on free and reduced lunch than many people might suspect when they just walk in the front doors and see such a beautiful building. Many of our families live in poverty, but the leadership here has worked so hard to create a space that feels wealthy in knowledge and resources. Our makerspace has a ton of excellent tools and resources. They range from computer programming types of tools to physical making and prototyping types of things like 3D printers and laser cutters. Students are able to earn badges when they demonstrate competency with one of those tools. Some of the tools have a pretty low ceiling, like learning to use the button maker. It doesn't take hours and hours of time. That can be mastered rather quickly. Learning to use something like the 3D printer or the laser cutter is a more complex tool and takes a larger commitment.
The laser cutter, it can be used for individual projects that students want to do. Sometimes it can be used for projects that will benefit the whole school, like the boxes that we're making now for the cakewalk.
They go through training in a myriad of ways. We sometimes do one-on-one training with individuals. Do you have it oriented the right way on the sublimation printer?
Yeah, I have it landscape out like that.
We offer after-school workshops once a month called Micro-Credential Mondays.
I went to Micro-Credential Monday, and I came here and they were doing button making, and I got to Micro-Credential button making.
Many of those opportunities arise within their classrooms, within the curriculum itself, where the teacher's designing a project.
It's the mastery of certain technological devices. Like for this, I'm in one of my teacher's classes. I'm making a bunch of t-shirts that we're gonna sell at one of the football games.
If they've gone through the process of learning something complex, I don't think it's as intimidating to take on a new thing that's complex.
I think it helps me learn more deeply because I get to kind of make it in my own way.
You try and make a corner all fit together and then you hit the wrong thing and they all mess up and you gotta redo that whole corner. You gotta be patient.
There's a lot of power and there's a lot of self-worth that's developed by creating something that other people look at and say, wow, that's really cool. And I think that most of the tools that we have are enabling kids to do that in a variety of formats and fashions and media that might speak to them and their interests.
Exactly right.
That was fun. And I love how they can design to their interests and look at the real world application of the things that they're making. It's
Yes, it's really cool.
Yeah. So let's get back into those steps, because there's the third step, which is engaging in the learning process. This is so important. The students need to understand themselves as learners in order to understand their needs as a self-directed learning student. So students should consider the following questions. What are my needs regarding instructional methods? Some kids need more, some less. Who was my favorite teacher and why? What did they do that was different from other teachers? They need to understand their approach to studying. A deep approach to studying involves transformation and is ideal for self-directed learning. This approach is about understanding ideas for yourself, applying knowledge to new situations, and using novel examples to explain a concept, and learning more than that is required for the unit of completion. A surface approach involves reproduction, coping with unit requirements, learning only what is required to complete the unit in good standing, and regurgitating examples and explanations used in their reading. A strategic approach involves organization, achieving the highest possible grades, learning what is required to pass exams, memorizing facts, and spending time practicing from past exams. So each child might have a different approach to learning, and an examination of how you approach learning can help you to perhaps choose an approach that is better for you.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the last step of this process is to evaluate learning. So for students to be successful in self-directed learning, they must be able to engage in self-reflection, which we just talked about, and self-evaluation of their learning goals and progress and process in a unit of study. To support this self-evaluation process, they should regularly consult with the advising instructor, send feedback, and engage in reflection of their achievement, which may even involve asking, how do I know what I've learned? That's a great question. Am I flexible in adapting and applying this knowledge?
Right.
Do I have confidence in explaining this material? When do I know that I've learned enough? When it is time for self-reflection, and when is it time for consultation with an advising member?
I mean, those are all great questions.
Yeah. And if I had applied some of those questions to my learning in high school, who knows? Maybe I'd have a doctorate now.
Right. And when we think about like, when do I know I've learned enough? It's kind of like, when do I know, like when now it's just going through one ear and out the other.
Well, and that almost, it's like when I had jobs in the real world instead of what I do now, what I would do is about 2 years into the job, I'd feel like, oh, I've learned everything I need to know.
Right.
Now I want to try something different, move on. So that question applies not only to children in school, but perhaps even adults in the working world.
Yes. Now, during our YouTube break, you guys, we will be enlightened on free summer programs for high school students to self-direct their education.
Nice.
Remember, Every Child Can Learn is sponsored by Thriving Women University. which is an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. If you want to produce a franchise show, TWN provides the media network coaching and training and mentoring to produce your franchise show. For more information, visit our website, and we'll be back.
The Young Ambassadors Program is a national program for graduating high school seniors aimed at fostering the next generation of community-conscious Latino leaders in the arts, sciences, and humanities via the Smithsonian Institution and its resources.
Before I was accepted into the Young Ambassadors Program, I felt this disconnect between me and the Latino community.
And when I came to the Young Ambassadors Program, I got exposed to so many different types of Latinos.
My perspective and my understanding of the Latino community grew.
YAP is a college preparatory and leadership program that encourages participants to explore various academic and career opportunities through the lens of the U.S. Latino experience.
It was the first time that I actually expanded my idea in the way I thought about the
Latino community, and that really helped me find balance in my cultural identity.
Up to 24 high school seniors with an interest in and commitment to the arts, sciences, and humanities as it pertains to Latino communities and cultures will be selected to participate in Washington Week, an all-expenses-paid interdisciplinary training seminar in Washington, D.C. In addition, they will complete a 4-week internship in museums and other cultural institutions across the United States and Puerto Rico, including Smithsonian-affiliated organizations. The Young Ambassadors Program empowers Latino youth to develop leadership and academic skills and fosters pride in their cultural heritage.
The Young Ambassadors Program opened my eyes to the possibilities that lie before me and gave me the opportunity to share my culture and be proud of who I am.
After Washington Week and the internship experience, participants are welcomed to the YAP Alumni Network.
It's amazing to see my peers from different cohorts and different years combine their passion for service with their professional aspirations. Seeing them go out and make change in the world and doing good and finding balance within that is honestly so inspiring, and it makes me feel like if it is possible for them, it is definitely possible for me.
Hundreds of alumni have been supported by YAP Familia, a network of community-conscious leaders and change-makers. They encourage each other to honor their communities by giving back and paying it forward.
I'm just astounded by how talented everyone is and how excited they are to be in community with each other and to give back.
Not only are we integrating our stories into the fabric of U.S. history, but as ambassadors, we pave our path into the future. Latino history is American history.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, welcome back to Every Child Can Learn TV. If you're just tuning into our classroom, we have discussed the progressive education approach to self-directed learning. Now, we talked about the 4-step approach to learning how to study independently and evaluate your processes. Of course, it takes time to learn this process, but when we take equity in our education, it will work. So, Angela, what suggestions do you have for struggling students and parents?
Oh, one of the things that I tell parents is to give yourself grace and give your child grace. So it's about approaching it from an aspect of understanding and compassion. But for the struggling students, I would say, there are 3 different primary methods of learning. There's auditory, there's kinesthetic, and there's visual. So the questions are, why am I struggling in this particular area of study? Is it that I'm not being fed in the way that I truly learn? Or is it that I don't resonate with the subject matter? So evaluating that allows you to perhaps open a conversation with your teacher and say, can we, if you're a kinesthetic person, can there be some kind of hands-on learning that we do on this subject that will help me truly understand it? Or can we do some visual type of learning instead of primary lecture learning? Because lecture only touches those who learn auditorially.
Right. When I was working, with a mentor, they wanted me to like read inserts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you now, Angel, I am a person who, like, when I read, I fall asleep. It's not that it's boring or anything. I just can't stay awake.
Well, technical stuff can be boring.
So I said, hey, is there any way you could make it more like an interactive thing here so we can talk about it face to face, talk about the chapters together, put our own life instances in it so I can get through this?
Well, and it's so interesting when you put your own life circumstance into it, that is story.
Right.
And story is a best way to teach concepts.
Do you know that my mentor was like, let's do it. We had some of the best conversations and I consumed and I learned so much of it. And I was just so appreciative that, she understood, like, I just really don't learn that way,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So during our YouTube break, we'll be enlightened on free summer programs for high school students that self-direct their education. And we already saw too, one was the NASA internship and then the Smithsonian thing. So Every Child Can Learn is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of Thriving Women Network. If you want to produce your franchise show, TWN will provide you with the media network training, coaching, and mentoring that helps you to produce a franchise show. For more information, visit our website.
Open source projects are always looking for new, excited contributors to join their communities. And many developers want to learn more about open source by joining a community, but they don't always know how to get started. Since 2005, we have brought these two interests together with Google Summer of Code. We've invited a few of our mentors here to help introduce you to Google Summer of Code, or GSOC for short.
Google Summer of Code is an online mentorship program that matches beginner contributors to open source software development with mentors from a wide range of open source projects.
These GSOC contributors have the opportunity to write code on a real-world software project that is used by thousands or even millions of people.
GSOC is open to new or beginner contributors to open source software development and students. All participants must be 18 years or older. The most successful GSOC contributors are interested in learning new skills and being part of the open source community.
Each year, Google accepts around 200 open source projects that act as mentor organizations. These organizations provide mentors and create a list of project ideas they would like participants to focus on during GSOC. These project ideas are designed to accommodate different expected time commitments.
Once Google has announced the mentor organizations, potential participants review the accepted organizations and look for project ideas that align with their interests. Applicants are encouraged to reach out to the mentor organizations before applying. This interaction is key to an individual being accepted into the program as a GSOC contributor.
Applicants write proposals on the project ideas that interest them, and mentor organizations decide on their top participants by considering the participants' interactions with their community and their written proposals.
The earlier a potential participant makes contact with the open source project and interacts with the community to show their interest in the project, the better their chances of being selected to be a GSOC contributor.
The standard coding phase is 12 weeks. However, to allow more flexibility for GSOC contributors, the project can be spread out over a longer time with mentor approval.
GSOC contributors learn many things throughout the program, including best code practices, how to read and write on complex code bases, testing protocols, and how to write documentation for their code.
Many thousands of our previous 20,000 plus contributors have gone on to become maintainers, mentors, and have even started their own open source projects. We hope you've learned more about Google Summer of Code, and we hope to have you join the program as a GSOC contributor or mentor in the near future. Please check out our program site, g.co/GSOC, for more information.
Yes, you guys, we wanted to thank our students, parents, and teachers from around the world for supporting today's mission to enlighten, encourage, and empower students, parents, teachers, and schools to recognize the impact of self-directed learning and what it can have on high school students' career path. Now, we'd love to hear your comments on today's topic by joining our Facebook group, Thriving Women TV, and telling a friend.
And tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend, yes. So you can watch recent episodes on demand at our Facebook group, E360 TV, or our website, thrivingwomennetwork.com. Angel, you got anything else?
Well, you know that Every Child Can Learn is sponsored by Thriving Women University, an affiliate of the Thriving Women Network. If you want to produce your own franchise show, TWN provides the media network training, coaching, and mentoring for you to produce your franchise show. And I know it because that's where I work. So, yeah. For more information, visit our website. And don't forget to tune into AMP Sports featuring Sparkle. Thursday at noon EST, Amplifying Women's Sports. I'm Angela Lee.
And I'm Sparkle Lindsay. We'll see y'all later.